Have you ever been in a room full of people, quietly taking everything in, and someone leans over and says, "Why are you so shy?" Well, today we're going to talk about a powerful trait that gets mistaken for shyness all the time: being a social observer.
Does this sound familiar? You're at a party, maybe a meeting at work, and while the conversation is buzzing all around you, you find yourself watching. You're not spacing out. No, you're actively soaking it all in. The dynamics, the interactions, the whole scene. It's so easy to just slap that shy label on it, right? But what if it isn't shyness at all? What if it's actually a totally different kind of skill that's been working in the background? That's the big question we're digging into.
So let's give this thing a proper name. We're talking about a very specific trait known as being a social observer.
Now here's the most important part. This isn't passive, it's active observation. It's a mental muscle you're constantly flexing, picking up on all those tiny social clues and details that just fly right over most people's heads.
All right, so how do you know if this is you? Well, there are a few telltale signs. Let's go through them and see if any of this, rings a bell.
For starters, you don't just hear the words someone is saying. You really hear their tone, right? That tiny little shift that tells you what they actually feel. You also notice the pauses, those awkward silences or hesitations in a conversation that speak volumes. But maybe the biggest one is this. You hear what people aren't saying. You're constantly reading between the lines, picking up on the subtext that almost everyone else in the room is completely missing.
Okay, now this is where the story gets really, really interesting. You might think this skill comes from being a social butterfly, but often its roots are in the complete opposite experience.
It sounds kind of backward, doesn't it? But this trait is often forged in the fire of social rejection. Feeling left out or misunderstood as a kid. Those experiences can actually trigger a pretty powerful change in how your brain works.
So when you're faced with those kinds of social hurdles, your brain adapts. It basically kicks into a state of hyper-awareness, almost like a survival mechanism. That intense focus sharpens your ability to read social signals, to decode what's really going on, so you can navigate the world a little more safely.
And this is what it all boils down to. It's not a weakness, it's a learned strength. Because of those tough experiences, you've basically trained your mind to see the world with a level of detail that most people just can't. You process what they miss.
So let's totally reframe this. This isn't some side effect of being shy or awkward. When you get where it comes from and what it does, you realize what it really is. It's an observational superpower.
And think about the advantages here. You get a way deeper, more real understanding of people. You can walk into a room and immediately spot the hidden power dynamics. You can read situations with an incredible amount of accuracy because you're seeing the whole iceberg, not just the tip that everyone else sees. That's a huge advantage, personally and professionally.
So the next time you find yourself on the sidelines, just watching, don't just chalk it up to being shy. Recognize it for what it is, your observation skill at work. Acknowledge the superpower you've built. And the only question left is, now that you know, what's the next critical detail you're going to notice that nobody else will?